But in the normal world, what is the main reason for asking questions? To get answers. That's what we were taught from we were tiny. You want to find something out, you ask a question. So what we are very skilled at is asking questions to get answers. Absolutely crucial to realize that in order to generate thought, to help people plan, to actually help people make decisions, to get people to commit to things, you don't actually need to know anything. But one of the things that people struggle sometimes to understand is that there are different reasons for asking questions. The primary reason is to find things out. And I still observe coaches in business that understand, they go, coaching is about asking questions, but the primary focus of their questions is to find stuff out. That, for me, is not the most effective way to operate. What I find most effective is to ask questions that generate thought. Because when we generate thought, all of those other things can happen. Imagine for one moment that we didn't do any of this writing down and me asking you questions. I simply came up to you and said, what is your topic? Yeah? And you told me what the topic was. And then the very next thing I said was, here's what I think you should do about that. Imagine even if what I said was exactly what you've come up with, what might be the difference in your level of willingness to do it? Right. So what prompts that different level of willingness? What would not have happened if I just told you, here's what I think you should do? Right. You haven't thought about it. Even if I was right, your level of willingness would be lower. Well, if we're really serious about performance, then surely we need a high level of willingness. You can call that level of willingness, you can call that motivation, you can call that discretionary, you can call it whatever you want to, but we need it if the performance is going to be good. It's about, can we generate thought? Because it's only when it makes sense in the other person's head that the level of willingness will come along with it. So whether it is someone on the garage forecourt or a sales clerk, whatever, it has to make sense in their head. And if it doesn't, all that tells us is we have not generated a high enough level of thought. We have not generated a high enough level of awareness, or we haven't done it in the right areas. Because if we had, they would not be in the same place that they are. That exercise we did, one of the things that came out of that was that, I didn't need to know about your topic. So please, it's important you understand, I'm not saying that knowledge is irrelevant and has no place. It has a great place. The challenge is, when we know something about it, what might that tempt us to start doing? We start doing all the thinking, and then we start telling and advising and suggesting, and that's okay if it's the best thing. But for me, it would be, if I have knowledge of something, if I have an understanding of something, that shouldn't mean that I go to telling and advising and suggesting. What I should use that knowledge and that experience and that expertise to do is to ask better questions, to ask questions that challenge more. So I'm not saying that knowledge doesn't matter. I think it's a great thing to have. It depends on how we use it. The easy way is just to start telling. It's much harder to use that knowledge and go, how can I use this to generate even more thought?